Okie dokie, I believe we are all the way live. Hello and welcome to my graveyard. I'm your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names of kicking candy ass. Live in the color here with you on Grande's Graveyard. And welcome back to another edition of the show. And this is part 4 in our Teen Titans review series. Yes, tonight we will rank and discuss all of the episodes from Teen Titans Season 4. Of course, the arc of Raven, and of course, the mark of Scath, the birthmark, all of these things, Trigon, Slade, a jam-packed season. And in a lot of ways, a lot of people consider this to be the best overall season of Teen Titans. And it's hard for me to really argue that. I just went back the past week or so and rewatched Season 4. And number one, it's a huge step up from Season 3. I love Season 3. But I would argue that Season 4 is a huge step up in the right direction. It might be the best season. It's either Season 2 or Season 4 is my favorite. Season 1 is fantastic. Season 2 is perfect. Season 4 is perfect. Season 3 is good. And then Season 5, when we get there, whenever that happens, that day comes, we'll get into some of my gripes. Season 5 was always the weakest to me. But tonight we're talking all things Season 4, so I'm super excited about that. A lot of fun, cool episodes, arc and non-arc, character development, just a great overall season of Teen Titans. I've got the tier maker up here. Of course, we're gonna show the split screen here. We've got all 13 episodes of Season 4 ready and willing and able to go. We're going to talk about them in order. But we do have somebody in the chat. And this guy, I'm going to be seeing him tomorrow, meeting him in person for the very first time. Ryan Snyder's in the house. What's up, brother? Dude, what's up with you, man? Yo, crazy, long time coming. So for news for people that watch the show and maybe will be there, I'm not sure. Tomorrow, I will be attending Monster Mania thanks to this guy. Ryan had an extra ticket, called me up, said, hey, man, do you want to go? Pulled some strings, booked a hotel room, and now I will be at Monster Mania live in the colors. So pretty cool. I wasn't planning on it. I know Night Watch Zone's going to be there, so it'd be cool to run into him. I know Danae is going to be there. So it should be a really fun weekend. I haven't been to Monster Mania since like Monster Mania 27. So that was like literally 23 Monster Manias ago. So that's a long damn time. So I am really excited. I hope to meet some cool people. You know, to me, the thing with conventions is the camaraderie. You know, the people that you walk around and see, and the cosplaying, and people that love the genre mutually. And that's definitely the people I want to go to see when I go. It's not as much for the guests for me. Like, there's most people that are like, oh, you know, people from Scream are going, people from here are going. I'm like, I don't really care. Like, I'm not, I feel like a lot of the people there, it's just like a scam. Like Ralph Macchio charging $90 to meet him. Like, no, like, I'm good, man. I want to buy some merch. I want to get some horror t-shirts and horror Blu-rays and horror hockey masks and hopefully some horror one sheets. I'm looking for the sequel. Of course, Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers. I'm looking for that one sheet because if we get that, Sleepaway Camp 3 will go here. Sleepaway Camp 2 will go right here. And April Fool's Day will have to be moved around somewhere else in the room. So that's really my plan. I always want to get the one sheet of Sleepaway Camp 2. And a convention would probably be the best place to do that. So hopefully I see that at Monster Mania. If you're going, let me know. If anybody wants to say hi or whatever, feel free. I'm an open guy. Very nice. At least I try to be. But yeah, no. So we will definitely be doing that tomorrow. I'm going to leave early in the morning to hit up Monster Mania. I'm excited for that. And tonight, I figure we celebrate no work tomorrow with a little bit of Grande's Graveyard. I don't know. I'm going to crack open a cold one just for the show tonight, just because we got a long weekend ahead. We brought back a classic. I haven't drank in Mountain Dew in the longest fucking time. So I'm really excited. We're going to crack this sumbitch open. Oh, isn't that a beautiful sound? Cheers to all my Teen Titans horror fans, everybody that's in the Heezy tonight. Cheers to you. Oh, man, that's the best stuff on earth. Fuck Snapple. This is the best stuff on earth. Oh, my God. It's been a long time since I had a fucking cold dew. So cheers to that. Muy delicioso. I am the Ice Lord's in the house. What's up, Grande? How you doing? Dude, I'm doing very good, man. I'm chilling like a villain tonight. We'll be talking all things Teen Titans, so I'm super stoked to have you in the chat. I'm taking some shots. You know me. I'm definitely bringing whiskey this weekend. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. I'm excited, man. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to be able to watch horror in person together for the first time. That'll be a lot of fun. I know they got a pool. I'm super excited. Sup, fool? King Negor's in the house. Corey, he dropped some secret news on me, but I'm not allowed to tell anybody, so I'll keep you all in suspense on that. But Corey, one of my favorite favorite people in the world. I know he's editing our summertime video together, so that should be on its way sometime soon. I hope so. Hope so in the near future. Slasher Fred's in the house. Since you have reviewed the rankings reviews of some of the seasons of the Twilight Zone, one of these days you should do rankings reviews of the original Outer Limits. We're not going to be doing Outer Limits. However, we are going to do Tales from the Dark Side starting very soon. It's just a couple of weeks away. We're going to do Tales from the Dark Side season 1. I have a guest coming on for that, so I'm super excited for that. You know, it's funny, like I started this on a whim over a year ago with Teen Titans, and it's one of my all-time favorite shows, and I got past season 1, and I took over a year to do season 2. I did season 2. It made me want to do season 3 and so on and so forth. So that's what we're doing season 4. And we will do season 5 eventually. So definitely going to get there. So Teen Titans, Tales from the Dark Side, the Twilight Zones will continue. We'll be doing, you know, some of my all-time favorite shows for sure. And those are 3 of them. Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. Glad to be here. Welcome. King Nigor, it'll be done this weekend. Okay, everybody stay on the lookout for that. I will be in Monster Mania this weekend. So anybody who's going to be there is like I already said. So if that drops this weekend live in a premiere, Corey, I may be busy. But let me know. Keep me posted. I'm going to be at Monster Mania, so I'll be in the horror mood, if you will. I may even meet Dick Warlock. We'll see if I'm taller than Michael Myers. Mateo's in the house. Ciao, Grande. Ciao, man. I've never seen Teen Titans before, dude. Dude, it's one of my all-time favorite shows. One of those that it kind of caught me at the right time, the right age. You know, and it's one that I really grew up with. Like I have all these merchandise and you know, the video games and stuff like that. It was just like my favorite show growing up as a kid. And, you know, years and years later, revisiting it down the road, to me, it still holds true. And season 4 is one of my favorite seasons. So I'm interested to get into this. I'll drop next Saturday. No worries. Awesome stuff. So everybody look forward to that. The summertime slashing video with Corey and I. He's going to have some fun clips, 6 slasher movies he and I discussed. It was a very, very fun stream, and I'm sure he's going to edit together to be an even better one. So we are going to be hopping right into the rankings. Big UFC next Saturday too. Oh shit, we're going head to head in the competition. It's the Saturday Night War, by God. But we are going to get right into this ranking right here. Of course, we have the 5 categories: masterpiece, great, solid, okay, and bad on the tier list here. We have some random fucking doctor to the left. I don't even know if, I guess we could just leave that here. It doesn't matter. But we're going to start with the season 4 premiere. This is Don't Touch That Dial. Yes, when Control Freak transports himself into the television, the Titans must follow him through 500 channels of danger. Yes, Don't Touch That Dial. Now, I am a huge fan of Control Freak. Control Freak of the villains, of the secondary villains, you know, obviously Slade and Trigon and Terra, and these are the villains that would probably be considered the primary villains of the Teen Titans. Control Freak of the secondary villains is my all-time favorite. I adore him. He's like my second favorite villain on the entire show. I know a lot of people love Mad Bod. I know a lot of people love Mumbo Jumbo. I love Control Freak. The whole idea of Control Freak just always made me laugh. It's basically an overweight television fan who has this magical remote to make things come to life with his remote. So he can, you know, point it at a horror poster standee and it will actually come to life. Of course, in Fear Itself, that's where Control Freak debuts. He's barely in the episode that's more about the Titans and Raven losing control of her powers. Here, he's much more front and center. And of course, he is surfing the, you know, television and 500 channels, and the amount of fun, you know, television shows referenced here, it just makes this episode so much fucking fun. They mention the Universal monsters, the creature from the Black Lagoon. They mention Star Wars. They mention Dr. Seuss. They mention so many different things, cooking shows, news shows. It's a big episode that's parodying a lot of other television shows while being a fun television premiere episode on its own. And I love the sense of humor to this episode. Of course, there's a point where the Titans are walking along and Cyborg says, "Oh, I know where we are. We're in the first season. We're in the first episode of season 4, which this is the first episode of season 4 for Teen Titans. So a little bit meta there. Of course, Control Freak in the television world, he can learn Kung Fu and he's like James Bond quality. He goes, out there, I'm just a fat loser. But in here, I am God. And the Titans have a hell of a time trying to take down Control Freak. I love the just the humor in this episode. I think it has a really nice sense of humor. And of course, Beast Boy is trying to one-up him, saying, "You think you know television, buddy? I've wasted my whole life in front of the tube. I'm going to out TV your ass." And it's just a very fun, tongue-in-cheek episode. To me, a really great way to kick off a great season. In season 3, a lot of people will tell you that it took a much more depressing note. Like, there's a lot of episodes in season 3 that are more dark and serious and gritty in tone. A lot of people were turned off by that. A lot of people want to have more fun, especially with Teen Titans. And to me, this was the perfect season premiere that you could have went with, because it does set a nice tone for the standalone episodes. While the arc episodes are very dark and disturbing, even more so, I think, than anything in season 3, I would say for the individual episodes, this one was the perfect starting point, launch pad point for the season. So don't touch that dial. That dial is going to be a great episode of Teen Titans. In my opinion, a wonderful start to a wonderful season. And to me, one of the episodes you should definitely seek out. It's just a lot of fun, a great villain and Control Freak, a lot of laughs, a lot of references. So if you're a big television fan, if you like, Universal Monsters, like I said, or just TV in general, watch it closely. There's so many nods to fun television shows. This is one of those ones where you definitely feel like they had a bigger budget for this. Like, they went all out with the art palette, color style, things like that. This whole season, from a color palette standpoint, is gorgeous, and we'll get there with other episodes. Any big matches? I'm not sure of the card yet. I am the Ice Lord. Don't touch that dial is a very famous catchphrase said during and before commercial breaks. Exactly. Yeah, no. And this episode is just, to me, a perfect capsulation of, why I love television, and a kind of meta look at it. It's a lot of fun. There was a 90s underrated movie called Stay Tuned, where this bickering couple becomes trapped in a nightmarish TV world where Lucifer runs the show. It starred 2 former TV stars, John Ritter. Oh, very cool. I love John Ritter. May he rest in peace. John Ritter is one of my all-time favorites. Of course, Three's Company. But we are going to, quickly, and Pan Dauber, who is known for playing Mindy on Mork and Mindy. We love Pan Dauber on The Graveyard, man. Pan Dauber was great. But we will move on here into the next episode of the season. This is season 4, episode 2. This is The Quest. Yes, after failing to beat a skilled martial artist criminal, Robin goes on a quest to find the true master to improve his skills. Yes, The Quest. Now, this is in a world where Robin is arguably the most known Titan. Like I would argue that everybody knows Robin. He's easily the most known of this show. He's easily the most popular of this show. I would say of all the Robin episodes that are on Teen Titans, this has got to be one of the best ones. To me, Haunted might be the best, but I would put this at number 2 as the second best Robin-centered episode. Basically, tells the story of Robin. At the opening, he fights this mixed martial artist, and he claims that I can defeat you in just 3 moves. And Robin's like, all right, let's see you give it a go. Of course, he misses his first 2 moves. Robin's like, you're nothing, pal. And the guy goes, I still have one more move. And absolutely schools Robin, kicks his candy ass, and says, hey, if you want to learn to fight somebody like me, you're going to have to learn from the true master. He kind of throws these smoke bombs and escapes. And Robin is beating himself up over this. He cannot believe that somebody had got the better of him and that he has been had. And thus Robin decides to take the guy's advice and go to the mountains and meet the true master. And Robin abandons the Titans. The Titans are, oh, Robin, you take yourself so seriously. Don't go. Don't do this. You got your butt whooped. So what? How many times have I got my butt whooped? Beast Boy asks him. And Robin says, it's not about that. I want to be better. I always want to improve myself. And that's the thing about Robin's character that I sort of love. And I know a lot of people will say he's bossy, will say he's too much, too full of himself, takes himself too seriously. I think in a world where, there are a lot of superheroes now that, get the high praise, whether it be all these Marvel movies that come out, a lot of them are fairly goofy. Like, I like Thor, I like Chris Hemsworth. It's a fairly goofy character. I wish at times that character took itself as seriously as this Robin does, this Dick Grayson version of Robin. I don't know. There's something about, I know some people rub them the wrong way. Oh, he does take himself too seriously. To me, that's the point of the character. That's exactly why I love Robin as a character. And he decides to travel to the land beyond the mountains and try to find the true master. He there encounters an old woman who is kind of lecturing him. You cannot bring your weapons up there. You cannot bring your utility belt. You must just bring your hands and, dress in a karate robe and basically make your way up there. he kind of is like, yeah, whatever, old lady, whatever. He listens to her, but he's in a rush. He's in a rush to get up there. And that's Robin. That's part of Robin's fall. He's, a little bit overzealous. He doesn't have patience, and he has to learn that in this episode, which I really like. Of course, the first task that Robin is faced with, he must fight this giant bear. Just giant, swole bear that can talk. And he's beating the holy hell out of Robin, leaning on him, weighing him, showing that size matters. And then Robin has to overcome that obstacle, being the smaller of the two. He outsmarts the bear and gets across the bridge. And of course, you may not turn back. He keeps encountering this old woman as he's going up there. Of course, the next challenge, he must face this snake in this really dark, gritty cave, and the snake cannot see. It's a blind snake. And Robin says, I will not fight you. You can't see. And the snake goes, okay, and turns out the fire, the little candle. Now neither of us can see. And of course, he has to learn to use his senses and sound to defeat the snake. He does. Then, of course, he goes on to face this like monkey creature who, it's been a while since somebody's got this far up the mountain. And of course, they fight on all of these bamboo sticks. And Robin is getting his ass kicked. And then monkey see, monkey do. He outsmarts the monkey, smacks him with bamboo to the face, and he gets to the mountain to meet the great Grand Master. And it's a great episode as Robin really learns each one of these tasks in order to get to the top of the mountain. However, when he gets there, the villain, the criminal that he faced in the beginning who kicked his ass, has been following him the whole way, taking the easy way up the mountain. And the Grand Master is revealed to be the little old woman that we were introduced to at the beginning of the episode. And she says, I will not train you. You use this easy way to get up here. There's an easy way and a right way. Which one will you choose? And Robin has to defeat this man who defeated him earlier on using the things he learned on his quest up the mountain. To me, it's writing 10 out of 10. It's so smart, so brilliant. And one of my favorite Robin episodes as he overcomes this guy who beat him in the beginning. He learned his lessons. He learned these new skills to his utmost advantage, and then learns from the Grand Master, who's this little timid old woman who, why didn't you tell me? You never asked. I just love that. I thought that was a wonderful kind of, story for Robin here. And of course, there is a fun little subplot. It's very, very small in the episode where the other Titans decide to dress up as Robin. Of course, Beast Boy, Starfire, Raven, and Cyborg all put on Robin's clothes and are pretending to be him and calling it, hey, Robin's. I just love being Robin. And of course, at the end, Robin shows up and catches them all, busts them all. He's like, hey, Robins, you got a slice for me? Very funny. To me, a great tongue-in-cheek, humor to this episode as well. But to me, a lot of really good, important lessons for even the Titans leader to learn. You can never learn, too much, even if you're the leader, even if you're Robin, even if you're the most established. To me, it's the climb. It is the literal name of the episode, the quest to become bigger, better, and badder than you were even at the beginning, even 20 minutes ago. That's why I love Robin. I think this is one of my favorite Robin episodes. To me, Haunted is the standout episode for Robin, but for me, The Quest, it's actually going to come in at the top. This is a masterpiece episode of Teen Titans, in my opinion, a really underrated one. Overall, I really like it. It has a great sense of humor. It has a great message. It has great performance by Scott Menville as Robin, and it's just one that I really, really gravitate towards, one that I really love. So let's get back to comments here. I think we were here. Trenchy's in the house. Man, it has been the longest time since I've seen your name, man. Trench, welcome to the graveyard. I hope all is well with you, man. I don't know if you still want to collaborate. I really would love to someday down the road. You seem to disappear from time to time, and I'm like, oh, man, like every time I'm going to reach out, you disappear. So, man, please don't be a stranger to me. If you ever want to do a show, just email me, say the word. Such a Fred, one of the classic series I used to watch was Space Ghost, which was very, very super classic superhero show. Now, if you watch Don't Touch That Dial, there may just be a reference to Space Ghost. I'm not saying nothing else, though. Robin's only ever gotten love on Teen Titans. No movies or shows get it right. Yeah, no, and like, that's the thing with Robin, is here is really the one of few shows that he got to be the leader. Like, and I think a well-respected leader, not a goofy leader, and not I'm trying to prove myself over Batman. No, this Robin was at times could be bossy, but when he fucked up, he admitted he fucked up. And when he was wrong, he admitted he was wrong. This Robin was not egocentric as much as a lot of people make it out to be to me. And, I do think he took himself seriously, but I do think that's part of Robin's character. And like, if he didn't take himself seriously, to me, it's a blah Robin. It's a blah character. How are you a leader if you don't believe in yourself? It's funny, in a season where Raven is the one to get the arc, I think Robin's character is the most likable in this season. It's kind of weird how he stands out. And we'll get into more Robin stuff tonight because I just think he does a great job. Well, maybe Batman Forever, that movie slaps. That's my favorite Batman movie on a very, very, unpopular opinion, but I love Batman Forever. Trenchy saying hi. Well, it sounds like an amazing episode. I'd like. You would. It's a great one. If you have HBO Max, the entire Teen Titans series is on there, so highly recommend. I love the Red X character. Oh man, yeah, we talked about Red X on season 3 episode. I love Red X as well, both when it's Robin and when it's not Robin. 100% agree that the design of that is great. I'm down. My mic is a little messed up again, but I am down. Just don't want to bother you, Dude, you're never bothering me. I feel bad. I know we've been trying to get this together for a while, and I feel bad. I don't know. Every time I'm thinking to reach out. So maybe we'll exchange emails again, man. It will happen. I promise it will happen. I don't want you to think that, because I don't know. I wanted you to come on to do Pet Cemetery for the longest time. So we'll definitely, I promise you, man, we'll talk about it. We'll figure it out down the road. But in the meantime, we're going to move on to season 4, episode 3. This was the first of the arc episodes. Of course, like I said, season 4 focuses on Raven. This is Birthmark. Yes, the Titans try and figure out why Raven despises her birthday while Slade mysteriously returns from the dead. Yes, Birthmark. Now, of course, this was the kickoff to Raven's big arc in this season. And of course, it starts off where the Titans face Dr. Light and she intimidates him and they're going to escort him to jail. And Raven claims, I'm not looking forward to tomorrow. I just feel like crap. And the Titans don't know why she doesn't want tomorrow to come, but they look into it. Beast Boy does some snooping and finds out it is Raven's birthday. We see Raven has this birthmark and she's just trying to stall the day out, waiting for the day to end. The Titans try to celebrate. She says, hey, I appreciate all this, but I'm not interested. This is not the time. This is not the place. I don't like birthdays. And why don't you like birthdays, Raven? I don't want to talk about it. Raven being very secretive about why she does not want to celebrate her birthday. Of course, the alarm goes off just 3 hours to midnight. And who's it going to be? Killer Moth, Plasmus? Who's it going to be? Robin is the first to see him, and his reaction, no. Slade has returned from the dead, and hello, Titans. Did you miss me? I remember as a kid when I first watched this season being fucking shocked. Of course, Slade shows up in Haunted, which is the season before this, and everyone's wondering how could Slade be in that? He was dead and buried at this point, dead in the lava. You learn that, of course, in Haunted, it was the post-traumatic stress of Slade that haunted Robin. That's why he saw him and nobody else did. But here, Slade is alive and well and has new powers of he could throw fire. He could summon fire demons. He can, take no damage. He's kind of like a zombie Slade, zombie Deathstroke, if you will. And man, Ron Perlman in this episode is just so fucking good as the character of Slade. I love some of the lines of, have you ever had one of those days where you're just so happy to be alive? And he's beating the holy shit out of the Titans and all of these powers. And Raven is just like, oh my God, he's kind of buttering Raven up. At one point, he almost kills Robin. And Raven, before it happens, screams, stop, and stops time. And then it's only her and Slade that can move. And Slade is kind of just belittling her. And, all of these years, I looked at Robin and I wanted him to be my apprentice. I looked at Tara. I wanted her to be my apprentice. But I always overlooked you, Raven, and I shouldn't have. I didn't realize how dark of a past that you have and all of these things that he's insinuating. And basically, this, of course, this little picture right here, he's slowly but surely sort of torturing her. And her clothes are ripped off and all of these crazy birthmarks show up around Raven's body. It's crazy that they got away with this on a children's show. I mean, it's some dark shit. And Slade basically mentions that, you are the portal for his return. And, the day of your birth is where it all begins. Today is the day that it has begun. And he tells Raven that, there's nothing you can do to stop the end of the world. It's inevitable. You've known it since birth, and there's nothing you can do. There's nowhere you can run. There's nowhere you can hide. And I just really love Ron Perlman in this episode. He does a great job. And the color palette, this is the one where, like, color palette wise, it's incredibly visually stunning, especially if you have the Blu-ray of this or watching on HBO Max in HD. It's gorgeous to look at. The really vibrant red sky and him like kind of holding behind her, and there's nothing you can do to stop it, Raven. And her hair is growing and the birthmarks are all over herself, and she's just defeated. She is scared, afraid, terrified, as Slade kind of taunts her. And then, of course, Raven falls off of this giant tower, and Robin swoops in to save her just in the nick of time. And he's like, hey, what's going on? You're going to have to explain this to me. And she explains that, listen, the day of my birth is not something to celebrate. It's the beginning of the end. And, someone is coming. The end of the world is coming, and it starts with me. And I don't know. This one, to me, it's just such a great, great episode. To me, it's as close as Teen Titans ever got to horror. There's a lot of horror themes in this. Slade, the way he butters her up, and the visual color palette, just how dark and just uncomfortable this episode makes you. This is a very unsettling episode of Teen Titans. To see Raven stripped of her clothes and her hair is grown out, and Slade behind her just whispering in her ear just very uncomfortably, just really sets a good mood for this episode. Where the first two episodes of the season were very fun, tongue-in-cheek, and you had some things to learn. This really turns everything on its head and goes, okay, we may be having some fun, individual episodes, but this arc, this is going to be dark as shit. And it is, of all of the arcs, it's easily the darkest. And I think it is the best of all of the arcs. A great, great kickoff to a wonderful arc of this season. To me, this is a slam dunk masterpiece episode of Teen Titans as well. I love this one. To me, like I said, visually, color palette wise, tone, just uncomfortable, unsettling, and absolutely everything you're looking for when you're making a arc this dark in a show like Teen Titans. I think they hit a home run with this whole storyline, and it's a great, great start to it. Yeah, man, no rush. I know you're busy and stuff. Dude, yeah, no, I promise I'll be in touch. Slade was an amazing version of Deathstroke, even though they couldn't call him Deathstroke, but Slade is a way more intimidating and sound. I agree with that. I actually agree. I know a lot of people would disagree with us. I think Slade, Deathstroke, I know to comic fans it sounds better, but to me, Slade is just, it fit this character better. It fit Ron Perlman better. Like, I don't know, just he was so good as Slade. One of the 90s cartoon series I remember watching is Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego, and Scott Menville did the voice of Zach, one of the main protagonists. Well, I love Scott Menville. I've never seen that show, but Scott Menville does a great job on this. I mean, I'm just a huge fan of Scott Menville. I think he's just a wonderful actor, and I just love his portrayal as Robin. But that will lead us into Season 4, Episode 4. This is Cyborg the Barbarian. Yes, Cyborg gets transported into the past with no way to recharge his cybernetic parts. He must learn to adapt to his new situation. Yes, Cyborg the Barbarian. Now, this is another episode. It's funny. A lot of reviews I've read, it's a fairly not liked episode. I think that's a fucking joke. This has got to be one of my favorite Cyborg episodes. Basically, what happens is Cyborg is talking to the Teen Titans at the beginning of the episode, and he just gets zapped out of nowhere, out of the tower, and back like all the way into like, BC times. And there's these giant alien creatures that are fighting these kind of warriors. And Cyborg kicks all of their asses with his sonic cannon. He cleans house. And they all herald him as this great warrior. Cyborg the Barbarian, here's our sword, and please feast with us. And Cyborg's like, listen, I'm flattered by all this, but I have to get back to my own time. I can't live here. I have a battery and it will run out. Electricity hasn't been invented yet. Of course, I do think one of my favorite things about this episode, about this season, is this really nice interaction he has with one of the women warriors there. They have a sort of romance, as they kind of kindle towards each other. But the interesting thing is that they both know that it will not work in the long run. Like she says to him, hey, why don't you take off your armor? I take off mine and I wear this dress and I'm trying to look beautiful for you. And Cyborg says, listen, my armor doesn't come off. It's not like I can choose to take my armor off. I'm stuck with this. I'm stuck with all of these robotic parts. I can't just take them off like you can. And I have to go back to my own time or else I will die here. And it's nice that, she's like, I'm going to help you, but I want to show you my home and I want to get to know you. And I want to, see where this would have went. And it's nice because they both have that mutual respect and like and attraction for one another. But in a lot of ways too, they both know it's never going to go anywhere because it actually can't. Cyborg cannot stay there and survive. And it's tragic to see that because Cyborg is a character that, after his season arc in season 3 and deception and when Jinx looks at him as the Hive Academy is crumbling down to the ground and, you could have been one of us, and Cyborg, just the tremendous delivery by Carrie Payton. I could have been a lot of things. Gets back on. In a lot of ways, man, Cyborg is a tragic character. And he never lets it get him down, though. Like, he's still always booyah and holla and I got the Sonic if you got the boom, and you got to be putting the T-shirt together, and just the energy and character that Carrie Payton brings Cyborg to life with. He's the most lovable guy. He's the most happy-go-lucky of the Titans. But on paper, he really is a tragic character. He can't get a lot of the things that he wants. He wants to be with this woman, and he can't because he is a robot in times before robots could adapt and survive. And you're like, damn, like I wish so badly he could stay here with this woman and live happily ever after. And at first, even though he doesn't want to be there, as the episode goes on, it's harder and harder for him to leave. And I don't know. I think the world of this episode. I think it's another really, really, really wonderful episode of Teen Titans. Of course, there is a subplot that it's kind of with this guy who he's taking, he's going to this witch, and that's how Cyborg got there. They kind of explain how Cyborg got there. I almost wish that subplot had been taken out of the episode and just there's no reason why Cyborg went there. I think that would have been something interesting, like way more interesting, just focus on Cyborg. But that tiny little subplot, it's kind of like you would have had a masterpiece episode if it wasn't for that little subplot. It's okay. They're explaining why. I almost felt like you didn't even have to. It was so much other things going right for it. And right before the final battle between Cyborg, the Warriors, and all of these aliens, Cyborg is taken away by Raven. She kind of finds a way to grab him back into, the future. And Cyborg's all dressed up, ready to fight. And he's like, you have to send me back. Send me back. They're going to lose the war without me, Raven. How could you do this? And Raven's like, I don't have a choice. We got you back. It was a one-time deal. I'm sorry. And Cyborg's just beside himself. He's like, I couldn't fight the war with them. What are they going to think? I deserted them? All of these things. And then somebody gets a textbook and says, hey, all these things that you were talking about, look. And he sees the woman that he fell in love with victorious in that battle. So he learns that they did win even without him. And he just has this nice smile on his face as we kind of fade to credits. To me, a wonderful Cyborg episode, a great Cyborg episode. To me, coming off a season arc where I don't think they did as good with Cyborg's arc as they did with others. I think Cyborg deserved much better than the arc he got. Definitely Brother Blood, I always felt was a kind of villain. Deception I love, but Titans East 1 and 2, like it's very middle of the road, subpar for as good as a character as Carrie Payton Cyborg is. I think he deserves so much more. But I love this episode. I think it had a lot of heart. It was nice to see Cyborg have a romance. It was nice to see Cyborg kick ass in the BC times. And I don't know, I think it has a lot to say about his character. He is tragic, but the reason we love him is because he never lets it get him down. He's just always optimistic and always wanting to be the life of the party. And I love Cyborg for that. So Cyborg the Barbarian, this one is going to come in at a great rating. I think it's a great episode. That small subplot does take it down from Masterpiece, though. It's close, but no cigar for the Masterpiece. Let's see. That sounds like something out of Evil Dead 2. Yeah, it's very similar to that. Very similar. I forgot about this episode, but it sounds awesome. Dude, highly recommend anybody revisits this season. Obviously, I will discuss some spoilers on these. I mean, there's some I will, some I won't. But, I always have a great time going back and rewatching these. It's funny, like, even though these are technically for kids, maybe because I watched them in my childhood, I still watch them and enjoy them through adult eyes. It's not something that is aged poorly. In fact, I think it's aged like fine wine. It's just better. Every time I watch it, it gets better. And that's why I love Teen Titans as a whole, man. It's to me one of the great shows of all time. Arguably my all-time favorite show. It's very close. But that's going to take us to season 4, episode 5. This is Employee of the Month. Yes, Employee of the Month. So I have brief plot synopsis here. Beast Boy wants a moped but can't afford one, so he gets a job at a fast food restaurant and stumbles onto an alien plot. Yes, Employee of the Month. Now, this one really depends on your sense of humor. I, for the most part, did not have much laughs with this one. I thought the opening scene was the funniest thing in the entire episode. And then when the episode sort of starts to play out, it's kind of mid for me. Basically, the Titans play undercover at a farm, and there's these aliens that are literally capturing cows in order to make fake meat with them. I shit you not. That's the aliens' plot in this. And the Titans are disguised as farmers, and Beast Boy's disguised as an animal. Of course, they have a mechanical cow that Cyborg is fucking hiding in, pops out and shouts "Mooyah" at the fucking aliens. Funniest shit ever. Like, I burst out laughing because I forgot that line. Like, fucking Cyborg busting out of a mechanical cow. "Mooyah!" Shooting the sonic cannon at the fucking UFO. Very funny. But as the episode plays out, to me, it gets less and less funny. Beast Boy applies for a job because he wants a moped. Oh, okay, it's a weird plot. He's working at this place where all they serve is meat. They don't have fries. They don't have drinks. They just have meat. And the manager is weird. And basically, it's an alien plot of all of this tofu. And it's just sort of kind of dumb. That's kind of the thing I feel about with this episode. To me, it's the first swing and miss for this season. I do think there will be people out there that will find this episode hilarious. And I do think there will be people out there that will be like, oh my God, like that's one of the most funniest episodes. I don't know. Maybe this one just didn't land for me. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Like, I loved the opening. I thought the opening was funny of them like hiding. I almost wish it had played out from there where they were just like, what's going on? As opposed to it just kind of switches gears and it's like, oh, Beast Boy has a job now because he wants a moped. And it kind of just goes way too down the road with one direction and not as much as where it starts. I wish it had kind of gone from where it started at. So Employee of the Month to me, I don't know if it's bad. I would say it's okay at best. It's an okay episode. It's nothing to run home about. It's probably more bad than it is good. But for now, I could give it the okay. It's an okay episode. It has a laugh here or there. Maybe depends on your sense of humor. I don't know. For me, this is the first swing and miss of season 4, though, for me. Aiden Babber's in the house. What's going on, good brother? Teen Titans is very quality TV, and apparently there was going to be a Teen Titans Go. Thank goodness that never happens. Ha ha ha. No, yeah, well, unfortunately, Teen Titans Go did happen, and it's the worst spinoff of all time. I would go that far. I absolutely hate Teen Titans Go, but in the meantime, we will move on to season 4, episode 6. This is Trock. Yes, Trock. The Titans team up with an alien hero to fight a mechanical menace, but fail to notice his prejudice towards Starfire. Now, Trock is a very interesting episode of Teen Titans because it's one of very few that kind of get to the political message of the horrors of prejudice. And I thought this was a very, very, very impressive way to tackle it. And basically what happens is Val-Yor is this kind of amazing pilot and he's fighting this alien race. The Titans kind of see from his tower, he's battling them. He impressively wins and kind of crash lands, hurts his arm and says, hey, is it okay if I, have you guys recruit and help me take on my next mission? All of the Titans are giddy. They like the guy. They look up to the guy, sort of a role model, an upper figure. And he's cool with all of them except Starfire. And we don't know why off the bat. He's just very mean to Starfire. You don't know why. And at one point, he basically calls her the word Trock. And Trock is a derogatory word towards Tamaranians, which is basically Starfire's race of people. And basically, he's saying that she is worthless, that she is nothing. It's a racial slur in her world. And I just thought, what a smart way to tackle a subject like this. And to me, a lot of episodes like this from other shows could be preachy. They could be too much with the message, not enough with the episode. To me, Teen Titans got it just right. Because this guy does not value her life. He thinks she's worthless. And at first, the Titans don't know about this. And Cyborg even says, hey, way to go, Trocky. He goes for a high five with Starfire. And she goes, you do not call me that. You will never call me that. And Cyborg says, well, why? Valyor's calling you it. And she goes, it means nothing. He goes, well, if it means nothing, why won't you let me call you that? And she says, no, he's saying I am worthless. And, do you know what it's like to be treated, differently just because you look different? And Cyborg says, of course I am. I do. I'm a robot. And a lot of people will probably, at the time can insinuate, of course, Cyborg is black. And that's another thing that they don't ever say it. But again, you can figure out what the message they're trying to write here is that it's not right to treat somebody different based on the color of their skin or what planet they are from in this episode. You have to treat everybody as you want to be treated. And that's, I think, a beautiful message. I know some will say, oh, it's cliche, but I think it's done really well here because it's not preachy. It's not preachy at all. They go on their final mission to this planet, and Starfire and Valyor go in together. And Valyor is pretty much going to die. He's going to fail his mission. He's going to die in order to complete the mission. And Starfire risks her own life to pull him out. And she says, you may not value my life, but I value yours. As she kind of pulls apart this thing and pulls him out, and they fly out together. And the Titans realize that, wow, like, even though this guy thought she was nothing, she still stepped up and, saved this guy's life. Even though he was a piece of garbage, racist asshole, she still went in there and saved him. And I love at the end of the episode, the Titans are all he's saying goodbye to them and, oh, thank you, thank you. And he kind of gives Starfire these backhanded compliments like, oh, you're not so bad for a Trock. And, maybe all you Tamaranians aren't bad. And, they're just like, hey, why does it sound like you're still insulting her? And he's like, oh, you know what? You're a bunch of punk ass kids anyway. And he gets on his ship and it kind of flies away. And Starfire gives this beautiful speech as, there will always be those that, think different of you because of what you look like or where you're from. And, those that think that their minds will never be changed, but it's the ones that treat you how you want to be treated, the ones that treat you for who you are. Those are the people's words that truly matter. And it's just a wonderful message as Starfire just gives this speech with tears in her eyes, and all the Titans kind of rejoice. And I just think it was a wonderful episode. What a wonderful way to tackle prejudice. To me, this is how it's done. In a lot of ways, people probably go, well, let the racist asshole die. Hear me out. I agree that he was a piece of shit. He was an absolute piece of shit. But it shows that Starfire is that much bigger of a person to risk her own life to save him, pull him out, just because she's one tough son of a bitch. And that's why I love Starfire, man. And I think that this is one of the best standalone episodes of the entire series. I love Trock. I think it's a really important one, and one that, a lot can be learned of. I think this is something you should show to young kids. I think this is something you should show to people all alike. I think it has a wonderful message, and it doesn't beat you over the head with it. It doesn't become preachy. And in my opinion, it's really, really good writing. I love Trock. To me, another masterpiece episode for me. I love Trock. I think it's great. Back to comments here. Teen Titans Go as a parody, I think, would work if the show was given a proper conclusion. But since the show wasn't really given that, instead we were given Go as, yeah, it's just, you know what, man? And like, okay, I'm not trying to shit on anybody that has kids or kids that grow up and like Teen Titans Go. I was a kid and grew up with this show. And as long as you leave me alone and I can like this, you can like Teen Titans Go. My issue is with the creators of Teen Titans Go. They made that movie Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans. And a big, big part of the comedy in that movie was making fun of people like me that loved the original show. You're just a fat loser with a neck beard that has glasses and has no life, and you fucking are mad at Teen Titans Go. That's what a lot of them, if you watch Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans, that's a lot of the humor in it, is that people that like the original series, you're nothing but a bunch of fat losers for not just admitting that the new stuff is for kids. I admit it's for kids. I will say this, though, it's shitty. I wouldn't let my fucking kid watch it if I had a kid that I know of. I wouldn't let them fucking watch that garbage. I would raise them on this because, yes, does it have adult themes at times? Yes, but it's still a good show for the entire family. It still has a wonderful art direction, and instances where they use anime and instances where they use beautiful color palettes and wonderful character stories that kids can learn from. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but I think this show is just as powerful for kids. You can see some ass kicking. You can see some fighting. It's not a bad thing, in my opinion. But I don't know. If you want to watch Teen Titans Go and make fun of me, whatever. Wait. Yes, he is. If you watched, it's funny. I think there's a really famous, it's either a TikTok or an Instagram where they play that scene and like people are bashing it, basically saying like, oh my God, like, of course he said, I'm a robot. I know what it's like to be. I get it. People make fun of it, but I do, like, that's their way of saying it without beating you over the head with it. I appreciate that. If they just go out and say the other, I feel like, okay, obviously you're beating me over the head with it. To me, I think it was done subtly. And I think the subtle nature of it really made it hit home more for me. That's just me, though. Yeah, this episode was great, especially since Starfire was so innocent, and to see her treated that way just hits. Exactly. And, even though she's arguably the most naive of the Titans, she's not dumb. And Starfire is a tough gal. I love Starfire, man. Like, she could have just let him die and said, you know what? Like, you think I'm worthless? Look where you are. And flew away. And I'm sure there are people that feel that way. But to me, what makes Starfire the bigger person is that she risked her life, saved him, saved the day, completed the mission. And when he flew away, she didn't even badmouth him, didn't even say, oh, screw him. She just said, you know what? You know whose words truly matter? The people that aren't him. That's, to me, the bigger person. That's why I love Starfire as a character. I think she did a great job. There was an episode of the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle series called Pizza by the Shred, where Michelangelo gets a job as a pizza deliverer at a pizzeria run by Shredder. I have seen that episode. I love that episode. I have a lot of those episodes on VHS tape. I love those. Powerful episode, not going to lie. I agree completely. There is an episode of Star Trek Voyager called Body and Soul, which involves these bigots who have hatred for the holograms. Yes, that's true. Yes, I think this can be done right. I just think there's sometimes where it's like they just go so far with it where I'm like, oh my God, like you're missing the point of, like, you still have to deliver an episode to me. Like, I agree, racism is horrible and racists are horrible, but deliver an episode too. Teen Titans did that. That's the difference for me. Yeah, I agree, that's bullshit. The original Teen Titans was also for kids and it went above and beyond. I agree completely. I just do. Yeah, bro, I don't feel like mindless entertainment is good for kids. Teen Titans Go is almost like ADHD program I've ever seen. It is. They sing, they do laundry. Like, no offense, I want to see them fucking fight crime. They got the bad guys on the run. They never stop till the job gets done. Come on, that's the Teen Titans. Not doing fucking laundry, not singing fucking duets, not writing fucking haikus, not fucking going bowling, not going to the fucking movies, not fucking, oh my God. There was an episode where Robin has his hand kissed by Starfire and fucking puts a plastic bag around his hand. His hand eventually falls off. His hand becomes a zombie hand, and it takes Starfire out on a fucking date. Is his fucking hand gonna finger her? What the fuck? Teen Titans Go is a bunch of bullshit. Fuck that shit. I hate that fucking show. I'll forever hate that show. This is the show to see. Fuck Teen Titans Go. This is the fucking bee's knees. All right? I don't care what anybody fucking says. But I'm sorry. You see, you get me going on Teen Titans Go. I might fucking blow a gasket on this motherfucker. I can't help it because I despise that fucking show. Oh no, Mateo, I'm sorry. Mateo, I need to take a sip now. I'm so sorry, yo. I love Teen Titans Go. I have two smoking. Well, in that case, forget what I just said. I'm so sorry, Mateo. I love you. I really do. I'm very sorry. The only DC ADHD character I wanted to watch is Harley Quinn. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing because she's my favorite DC character. She has her own show now too. And it's really fucking popular. I couldn't get into it at all. I watched it. The animation was fine, but the dialogue in it was almost too quick, and I just didn't find it that good. I don't know. That people love that Harley Quinn show. I'm very I don't know. Maybe that's another thing too. Is like all the nasty things I could say about Teen Titans Go. I'm also out of touch. I will admit that. I am old school. I just am. That's all the movies I watched for the 70s and the 80s. I'm just old school for somebody my age. So it's hard for me to get into a lot of new things. That's a problem of mine. So it's definitely nobody else's. I think that Harley Quinn show is beloved. I think it's won awards. And the Slade episode was just a spit in the face to fans where they had the clowns instead of Slade. Oh my God, dude. It's just a fucking nightmare. But like I said, like if you're like Mateo and you have children, I totally get it. Like I think it's fine. I'm just saying I grew up on Teen Titans. But I have no problem with it. If you like, I just don't like the creators shitting on the original fans. That doesn't make sense. This is actually regular due. I haven't been drinking soda that much lately, and I don't know. I figured I have a long weekend coming up, so I figured I'd just kind of pop a dew on the show. And it's icy cold, man. It's muy delicioso. It's okay to like Teen Titans Go. I think they should have finished the OG and not attack the exactly. Like if you're gonna be Teen Titans Go, go ahead, be Teen Titans Go. Don't shit on me though, because I don't like it. I don't have fucking kids that are watching the show. That's just my 2 cents. I don't know. Of the old one. I know what you meant. In the film Batman from '89, the character of Allison is sort of the inspiration for Harley Quinn. Okay. In short, Teen Titans are not Harley Quinn, lol, and I adore the Harley Quinn show. I think most people do. A lot of people totally do. No offense. Thank you. I appreciate it. I did not have kids. I would say the same thing. However, sometimes there are funny parts that goes over their heads, but I get the movie references. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, no, and like I said, completely like if I had it and my, kids like it, that's fine. That's who it's for. It is for a children's audience. I do think, though, for what it's worth, this is for the whole family. Like one day if I have children, I would show the fucking mini Grandes this. I would totally show them this fucking show. I have been drinking a Baja Blast a lot lately. Dude, I love Baja Blast, man. Grande's off the wagon, 2 liters incoming. No. I'm trying to, I'm doing good. I'm under 200 pounds. I'm feeling good about myself. The diet is iffy, but I'm just kind of taking it day by day. It's not easy, but I do love soda. I try to drink it, less and less, but that is neither here nor there. But we will move on into season 4, episode 7. This is the prophecy. Yes, Slade returns and forces Raven to admit her role in the coming apocalypse for her friends. Yes, so this is the continuation of Raven's arc, of course. The prophecy where Raven has to pretty much come out and tell the Titans about the mark of Scath, and the Titans kind of follow Slade. There's this kind of battle in Metropolis, and then Slade kind of goes into this old abandoned library where the Titans follow him in. The Titans fight ghosts, which I thought was interesting. There's a very fun scene where the Titans have to work their way down this giant pit that has like the deepest fall. And at one point, the ghosts are chasing them, and Robin's like, we got to jump. And Robin jumps, and Cyborg's like, Robin, do you forgetting the memo that me and you can't fly? And fucking Cyborg looks, he's like, all right, I guess we're just going then. And Cyborg jumps off the ledge and does like a fucking cannonball. I had to pause it. I laughed so hard. I don't know why I found it so funny. But Cyborg's like, all right, fuck it. There's a bottom down there somewhere. Cannonball jumps down. And of course, Starfire saves his ass from getting killed, which I thought was fucking funny. The Titans are battling ghosts. And then meanwhile, Raven kind of takes a step back into her past where she's out in Azarath. For the first time, we see Azarath. It's this beautiful red city and it's abandoned. And Raven finds her mother. And she's saying, Mother, please talk with me. Is there a way I can stop it? And Raven's mom looks at her and says, listen, there's no way you can stop him. We both know that your father, Trigon, is the incarnation of evil, and he will stop at nothing to destroy your world and all the planets. And you're doomed. And all you can do is look in the mirror and look in all the good things that you've done. You fought for crime. You fought evil. You did all of these things to try to make up for the horrible thing that you were destined to do. And that is to be the portal for your father into this world. And it's a really, really heartbreaking moment where Raven's mother, it's the only interaction we get between the two in the entire series, where Raven's mother pretty much tells her, listen, I love you, but you're done. This is over. This is your destiny, and there's nothing you can do to change it. And of course, Raven meets back up with the Titans. Slade is, of course, being Slade, and he kind of gives this cryptic message. He's like, I would be afraid of your friend here. And he kind of tries to get away, but Raven goes, I'm not finished with you yet. She kind of grabs him from under the ground, and she beats the shit out of Slade. It's one of the most epic moments of the series where she beats his ass. And she's like, you know what? I was afraid of you before, but now I think you're afraid of me. And Slade has this great point where he goes, yes, but look who's also afraid of you. And he points, and the Titans are like, what's going on, Raven? Like, where are these powers coming from? And she has all these, again, the birthmarks lining up around her body. And she explains to them, listen, like, my father is coming. He was going to take over the world. And, I am this portal. And this is inevitable. I am destined to be the beginning of the end of the world. And I love the Titans' reaction. They are afraid at first. They're nervous. But Cyborg is the great, tone setter. He goes, I only have one question. How do we stop it? And Raven goes, we don't stop it. There is no stopping it. This is inevitable. And, the other Titans kind of look at each other and they go, listen, we have to hope. We have to keep hope. We have to hope for tomorrow. We have to hope that we can defeat this. And the episode sort of ends where the Titans are looking off, almost like Empire Strikes Back shot, where they all have their arms around each other. They're watching the sunset, and the episode kind of fades, and it sets up for a perfect, to me, season finale, which we'll get to in just a few standalone episodes. But to me, a perfect setup episode to what the end becomes. For me, this is the fourth masterpiece episode of Teen Titans of the season. I love this one. I think this is a great episode. The prophecy comes in at a masterpiece level. So far, look at this. I mean, this is amazing. You have six episodes that are great to masterpiece, one okay one. Out of 7. That's a really, really damn good start. Let's see. Speaking of Harley Quinn, there was a superhero show in the 2000s called Timo Supremo, which involves this trio of youngsters who were superheroes, and one of the villains was a clown called the Birthday Bandit, who was voiced by Mark Hamill, and he had a Harley Quinn-like minion who was part of his minions, which he called the Party Favors. Okay, I would watch Teen Titans Go versus John Grande episode. I don't know if they'd have me on. I don't think I'm kid-friendly enough. That would be like Mike Tyson versus Glass, Joe. Oh my God, I don't know. I don't. That wouldn't be good. I wouldn't. I don't know. I hate the creators of Teen Titans Go more than Teen Titans Go. I just don't like that they bash the original fans. Like, I don't think that's called for. Like, I don't have to like your show. It's for kids. It's not for me. I understand that. But to bash me and be like, oh, you're nothing. I just didn't think that was called for. That's just me, though. So we will move on into season 4, episode 8. This is Stranded. The Titans go to a space station and get attacked by a monster. Their ship gets damaged, and the Titans find themselves separated and stranded on a planet. Yes, Stranded. Now, this is the first and only real episode of the entire series to discuss the relationship between Starfire and Robin. Of course, the episode starts off, the Titans kind of visit this abandoned space station. They find this monster that if it yells, it has this sonic screech that can just cripple you to your knees and destroy everything in the room. And the Titans try to shut it up. They try to tie its mouth closed. They're throwing star bolts at it and sonic booms and all of these things. And Starfire and Robin outsmarted it at one point, and it jumps down this ditch. And they think they've defeated it, and they kind of fly back up and good going, Robin, good going, Starfire. They punch each other in the arm. Of course, Starfire punches Robin harder in the arm because she doesn't know her own strength. And Cyborg makes the, dun, 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 hey, good one, you and your girlfriend and all. And fucking Robin gets upset. And he goes, she's not my girlfriend. And Starfire takes this very much to heart. What do you mean I'm not your girlfriend? I'm not a girl. I am not your friend. She's trying to figure it out. And then this thing attacks them again. They have to get to the T-ship quickly. It jumps on the hood. It's flying around. They accidentally all separate and crash land onto this planet where they are, hence the title of the episode, stranded. Starfire and Robin are together. Beast Boy and Cyborg are together trying to find Cyborg's parts in the comedic parts of the episode. And Raven is by herself with all of these weird, creepy little alien creatures that have a love for her, a platonic love for her. Weird, weird, weird. But where this episode really stands out is the relationship aspects between Robin and Starfire, and the two of them finally having to face their feelings for one another. Does Starfire head over heels in love with Robin? Yes, she is head over heels in love with him. That is her guy. She absolutely loves him. But I think Robin, his character on this show, he takes himself so seriously. He takes fighting crime so seriously. It's almost like he doesn't have the mind to be a boyfriend. It's almost like it's too much to add to his busyness, his busy schedule, his busy plate. And he realizes that, man, like, this girl is beautiful. She's so good to me. And maybe I should open up my, how I feel. And she asks him, she says, tell me how you feel about me. And he opens up. I like how you kick ass. I like how you're super strong. I like how you throw star bolts. And the two of them sort of slowly but surely start to bond. It's not just a friendship, it is a love relationship. And it doesn't get fully realized until the Trouble in Tokyo TV movie. Of course, like that's really the movie is where they expand their relationship. They become boyfriend and girlfriend officially. But it was very nice to see these two interact here and their chemistry they have here. And I love that the monster finds them on this planet and it's attacking them. And they figure, let's outsmart it. We'll jump off a cliff again and we'll do this thing where we grab hands and we could fly up. But Starfire says to him, listen, Robin, I would love to do that, but I've lost my ability to fly. Like my feelings were so crushed. My powers are based on emotion. I can't fly anymore. And Robin says, listen to me. As long as we're together, it'll be okay. And they hold hands, and she doesn't know if she's going to be able to fly or not. They jump off this cliff. This monster goes with them, and there's just silence for a few seconds. And you're like, oh my God, did they fall to their death? No. Robin and Starfire fly back up, and it's this great triumphant music plays as they rise up from the bottomless pit and land down, and they hug, embrace, and it's so nice to see that the two of them, even despite Robin saying some stupid shit, were able to overcome that and realize, hey, we do love each other, and this is the start of a beautiful relationship. And of course, Cyborg and BB, they're kind of looking for Cyborg's parts, some fun comic relief in the episode. And then, of course, at the end, they've repaired the T-ship. They find Cyborg's hands, and it's just time to find Raven, who's getting a massage from aliens. Very, very fun episode to me. A very important episode, especially in the grand scheme of the show. An episode that I'm happy they discussed their relationship. Because, of course, they did not before, they did not after this. They never have an episode after this where they're, talking about relationship stuff, exception of the Trouble in Tokyo movie. So this episode, I would say this is a great episode of Teen Titans. I really think it's a great one. I like the chemistry between Hynden Walsh and Scott Menville. I think Hynden Walsh does a great job in this episode as Starfire, trying to explain to him that you have to, open your feelings up and say how you do feel. Because if you bottle it all up inside, you'll let me go. And that's not right to do either. It's never right to let somebody you love go. You have to sometimes hit them over the head with the message, but she does, and Robin gets it. And as long as they're together, their love, their bond, their chemistry cannot be broken. To me, a wonderful episode of Teen Titans, a great one. Let's see. Who do you hate more, the creators of Teen Titans Go or the directors of Creepshow 3? It's okay not to respond. I hate the directors of Creepshow 3 more. At least Teen Titans Go has an audience. At least Teen Titans Go is made for somebody. At least Teen Titans Go is giving those jobs to those voice actors. Creepshow 3 is a fucking CGI floor. Creepshow 3 has a fucking segment where a man is trying to stick his dick in the aux cord of a fucking radio that tells him to commit fucking crime, that tells him to rob banks, that is also working alongside of a fucking hooker in the hotel, a fucking pimp outside the hotel, fucking random people outside the hotel. It has a horrible fucking segment where these dumbass people decide to rip apart this woman because they think she's too hot to be marrying this old fucking fart of a professor because they think she's a Russian robot, and rip her apart on a CGI fucking floor. It has a segment where a man buys a hot dog and chokes to death on a hot dog because he gives it to a bum who chokes to death on fucking dirt and gives it to him. And it's a 40-minute segment of a movie. Creepshow 3 is the worst thing ever made. It's the worst thing ever made. It is the worst fucking thing ever made. I don't think anything gets worse than Creepshow 3. For me, it's the worst thing ever made. One of the cartoon series I used to watch was Danny Phantom. I loved Danny Phantom. Danny Phantom was fucking great. Gotta catch 'em all cause he's Danny Phantom. Gotta catch 'em all cause he's Danny Phantom. Danny Phantom. Followers home video. Welcome to the graveyard. I think is this the first time? Is this Gid? I don't know if this is Gid. This might be Gid Dahmer. I don't know. It might be. You get me started on Creepshow 3, man. I don't know. It's just the worst thing ever made. Okay. It's the worst thing ever made despite like movies and things that are like uber political. Other than that, like I hate politics. I just hate them. I love the show. I hate the business. Gene Wilder. But let's move on to the next episode. This is season 4, episode 9. This is Overdrive. The Titans battle a thief who can duplicate himself. Cyborg upgrades his system with a faster processor. This, I would honestly consider this the filler episode of the season. I don't think this episode fit at all with the rest of the season. It really felt just blah throwaway filler to me. Like, we needed another standalone episode. Let's do Cyborg. Let's bring in Billy Numerous, who, to be fair, the actor who portrays Billy Numerous is fine. I just don't really like this one that much. Like, does it have an okay message? Yes. It has the message of, Cyborg already does a lot, but he wants to do more and more and more. And it's okay to enjoy your life, but at times you have to slow down and kind of appreciate the little things. I like the message of it. I just don't think it's that great of an episode. It's not an episode you really largely need to see. It's a message that in the first 5 minutes, you could probably see where the episode's going. It's just one of those ones where I'm like, it's okay, but nothing better than okay. So this one, it's a quick rating here. I would say Overdrive is an okay episode of Teen Titans. It has some funny moments. It has some nice parts, has some nice scenes. Carrie Payton, of course, always nails it as Cyborg, one of my second favorite Titan, just behind Raven. But I don't know. I just personally think this was a filler episode and an otherwise masterpiece of a season. This is one of those episodes that you could largely skip, in my opinion. So that is Overdrive, of course, season 4, episode 9. And then we have season 4, episode 10. This is Mother May I. And dare I say it, this has got to be the weirdest episode of the entire series. It is also the lowest rated. Quick, brief plot synopsis. The Titans come under the spell of Mother May I, who only wants to take care of them forever. Yes, Mother May I. As a kid, when I watched this show as a kid, this was always my least favorite episode. And I dreaded going back and rewatching this. I really did. I was like, oh man, I don't know. There are part of me that thinks there are some people that will love this one for how fucking weird it is. And if you're one of those people, I would love to hear why. Like, why? Like, what about its weirdness do you like? It's basically this weird lady. The episode opens up where all the Titans are acting like 5-year-olds. They're acting like Teen Titans Go people. And fucking, Mother May I is like, oh, make sure you eat, make sure you're tucked in bed. She dresses them up all goofy to fight the Hive. Whatever, it's whatever. And then eventually Starfire gets a knock on the head and sees this woman for what she truly is, and it's a witch. And the witch's ultimate plan is some sort of Hansel and Gretel shit. She wants to bake the Teen Titans into a pie and eat it for herself because Cyborg bought a pie from a fucking gypsy, and fucking basically that cursed the Teen Titans to be doomed by this witch. I don't know. I think this one is fucking too weird for its own good. And this is coming from somebody who I like some weird episodes. Like, I like the episode with Fractured with Larry, and he pops out of Robin's head and the broken finger. And, you're Robin, you may not always win, but you always try. And that's why you're my favorite. There's some weird episodes of Teen Titans I love. Of course, the Mumbo Jumbo episode where they all go into Mumbo Jumbo's hat and have to put on the magic show and Raven, alakazam. There's some weird episodes of Teen Titans I like. This is not one of them, though. This one is just too weird for its own good to me. I don't know. The actress that plays Mother May I is fine, but it's just kind of like blah. It does have fun with its artistic palette and the visual style. Like, there's some, evil gingerbread houses, and, it definitely has its moments where the Titans have to escape Mother May I, and they're literally being cooked alive in an oven. It's funny. I do think there is an audience for this episode. Like, I do think there would be somebody who will go, it's so weird, I love it. But I don't know. For me, in a series where there are a lot of weird episodes I like, this is not one that I enjoy at all. I don't know. This is just one I kind of feel like dropped the ball. So for me, Mother May I is actually going to stay right here. It's a bad episode. I don't really care for Mother May I. To me, it's the only bad episode of the entire series. Or season, I should say. Both, LOL. Okay. Wonderful, Gene Wilder goes. Yeah, absolutely. I heard person that likes weird things. Hello, I'm here. Mark, man, straight off the Guinness World Record, man. Congratulations. I forgot about this one, too. It's forgettable. It's largely forgettable. Got to head to work. Thanks for the Z vibes. Take care, y'all. Thanks, Corey. Man, rock on, man. We're going to have our summertime slashing episode very, very soon. So I'm excited about that. It's relatively strange, but I guess they were trying to catch the old one-off jokes comics like they did with Superman and Batman, maybe. I don't know. I don't really know what the point was here. Like, I don't know. Like, okay, there are weird, like I said, there's weird episodes of this show that I like. There are weird ones. Like, but I would say the two bad weird episodes is this and the one where the alien comes down, loses his dog, and kidnaps Beast Boy because he can shapeshift. and they have the green dog running around town licking Raven. That's another weird episode that I don't really care for. It's only those two are the only two I really don't really care for, weird episode wise. But in a series where like I love almost every episode, you're bound to have a couple of stinkers. This one's not the worst thing in the world, but it is bad. The only thing I like about the which one is Robin saying, "Bigger they are, the harder they fall." He has a great line where she's like, "Yo, this is no way to treat your mother," and he goes, "Lady, you are not my mother," and he throws a giant piece of pie in her face. I think it's funny. I don't know. It's just sort of mid. There's a Nickelodeon show I used to watch called Space Cases that was sort of a kid's version of Star Trek. And in one of the episodes, the crew member, I remember watching, the crew is under control of an alien that had a mother like issues with them. Okay. But now we move on into the final episode. Crazy enough, it's a 3-parter of season 4. This is the end, part 1. Yes. The end of the world has come. The Titans try to keep Raven from opening the portal to release Trigon. Yes, the end. Arguably the greatest episode of Teen Titans' entire run. To me, it's easily the best episode of season 4. All 3 parts, I think, are wonderful as a whole. We're going to talk about them individually, of course. But Teen Titans, The End, Part 1 is just a great, great way to start the beginning of the end of your season-long arc. Of course, the episode opens where Raven is watching the sunset and Robin kind of walks up to her and is like, "Oh, another beautiful day, isn't it?" And I love how she's like, "Are you always so cheery?" And he's just like, "Yeah, pretty much." And she's like, "How about I make you breakfast?" It starts off where Raven is trying to be uber nice. Can I make you breakfast? Can we go for pizza? All of these things. Raven is very much acting unlike Raven because she knows that today is the end of the world. And, as the sun goes down, the moon rises and Raven's whole body is covered with the mark of Scath. She crumbles to her knees and she says, "Tonight's the night. This is the beginning of the end of the world." And Cyborg picks her up and they walk back to the tower. And there's this wonderful scene where they show her this safety room, this sort of panic room that they've created since the episode of The Prophecy. We've been building this room. Nobody's getting in. Nothing's getting out. We're going to keep you in this room and we're going to fight off whoever comes and tries to get you, because if they can't get to you, he can't get to this world. He needs you to become the portal in order to take over the world. So if he can't get to you, the idea is we're going to protect you from that. And it's just such a beautiful scene as the 4 of them say, "Hey, stay here. We got your back." And the 4 of them are trying to convince her this is not the end. But Raven says, "Hey, listen, you don't get it. Trigon is the incarnation of evil. He will destroy you. He will come here. He will end all of these things as you know it." And Beast Boy says, "We get it. He's a bad dude." And Raven, without missing a beat, goes, "No, you don't get it. You do not understand. This is not like anybody we've ever faced before. This is not like anybody we've ever seen before. This is the biggest of the baddest." And they all kind of say, "Hey, listen, stay here. We're going to battle them for you." And Beast Boy has this really nice scene as he runs up to Raven before they all leave the room and he hands her this penny face up and he goes, "Penny for good luck." And he holds her hands and kind of runs off. And Raven kind of looks at it. And the Titans kind of wait outside for Slade and his army filled with fire demons that are trying to get into the tower and take Raven to become the portal. And it is an epic fight scene as the Titans are fighting these fire creatures and Slade. And it's just really, really, really fun action. And of course, Cyborg has this amazing scene where "You're not getting in this house." He kind of hooks himself up to these giant cannons, these giant sonic cannons, and starts shooting them like crazy to take out Slade and all of these things, locking the target on Slade. And he drops down. He uses every ounce of juice and energy he can get. He drops down on a knee, looks up, and Slade is standing there without a scratch on him. He's like, "Is that all you got?" And it's just you're like, "Oh my God, like there's no stopping Slade right now. Like this is Slade of another world. There's really no stopping him." And of course, the Titans are being grabbed and held captive, and Slade looks like he's about to win the war when Raven comes outside. And they're like, "Raven, what are you doing? Get back into the safety room." And she says, "Listen, we can't keep prolonging the inevitable. Like, we have to concede defeat." And they're all yelling at her, "Please, Raven, don't give up. You can never give up hope." And she goes, "I love you all. I do. Stay safe." And she kind of puts her arm up, and this kind of black magic shoots into all 4 of the other Titans, knocking them out. and she and Slade kind of walk off. And the Titans wake up. They're like, oh my God, like what's going on? And of course, Raven and Slade walk to where the portal will open. And Slade is kind of saying to Tara, like, oh, you're nothing. You're just a pawn in his game. And Raven says the same thing to him. She's like, you think he's really going to return to you what he promised you? Which is, of course, he promised Slade to bring him back to life, his own flesh, his own blood. After Tara killed him, after Tara took him down, Trigon promises, if you serve me, if you bring me the gem, if you bring me the portal, I will return to you your life, your flesh, your blood, so you can go on. That's, of course, what he tells Slade. But, of course, just like Slade's apprentices, Slade being an apprentice gets a little taste of that medicine. He doesn't like it. Raven kind of becomes, she's about to become the portal. The Titans show up again, and they're begging and pleading with her. You can't just give into this just because of some prophecy you were told as a kid. You can't give up hope, and you have to keep fighting. You have to resist. And she says, listen, I love all of you, but it's time. And she kind of blocks them off. And I love how the Titans try to triumphantly punch through her force field. And they're screaming and crying, Raven, don't do it. As she kind of walks up the steps, she takes a kneel down, and she becomes Trigon's portal as he enters the real world and is going to take it over for this foreseeable future. Teen Titans The End Part 1 is the perfect start to the 3-part season finale. Another masterpiece episode of Teen Titans. I love it. I think it's wonderfully done. This is really the episode where Tara Strong, I think, does a great job, because it's her denial of any type of hope when it begins that really just brings you down. You're like, man, like, look at how hard these other four are fighting. And she's really, there's no stopping this. Like, this has to happen. And it's sad to see such a hopeful person in Raven sort of crumble and concede defeat. And it's sad to see, but of course her arc is not yet finished. She still has some growing to do. And that's why we love Teen Titans. But for now, that's Teen Titans The End Part 1. Here we go with Teen Titans The End Part 2. Slade teams up with Robin to find Raven while the rest of the Teen Titans distract Trigon. Yes. Love how you described all that. Such passion, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I got to be honest. This is like one of my all-time favorite shows. So I really wanted to give this season its just desserts. I've done seasons 1 through 3, and I'm just a big fan. So I appreciate you watching tonight, man. I really do appreciate the support. But this is Teen Titans The End Part 2 here. And just off that description, man, when you hear that, you're like, wait a minute, Slade teaming with the Teen Titans? What? Yes, Slade in this episode confronts the Titans after Trigon has taken over the world. A lot of people have turned to stone. Trigon is literally sitting in the Titans tower like it's a fucking, beanbag chair, chilling, resting, gaining his strength back. And Slade confronts the Teen Titans. Listen, Raven is not gone. Raven is still here. You can get her, but you have to come with me. One of you must come with me, and the other 3 must distract Trigon while we go on our mission to find Raven. And, at first they're like, why should we trust you? And he goes, listen, I have nothing to lose. And what Trigon wishes upon the world, I wouldn't even wish upon it. And they have this great kind of battle with Slade, but Slade says, listen, if you want her back alive, you're going to have to trust me. And Robin says, all right, begrudgingly, I'm going to go with you. But if you turn your word on me, if you turn your back to me, we will take you down. And Slade's like, I expect nothing less. So Slade and Robin have to team up to go down to like the center of the earth and find Raven. Meanwhile, Starfire, BB, and Cyborg have to distract Trigon. And Trigon does not want to face them at all. Instead, he kind of conjures each one of their dark sides to come out. And these black and white incarnations of all 3 of them, evil incarnations, battle their good carnations. And it is a lot of fun to see these fight scenes. I like the whole visual design of having a black and white Starfire, black and white Beast Boy, black and white Cyborg being evil and having, like, instead of red sonic cannon or the blue sonic cannon, it's red, or the green star bolts, they're red. Very cool kind of change in pace as each of the Titans have to battle themselves, at the battle the person in the mirror. Very cool, very interesting concept there. Instead of just fire demons or whatever, henchmen, you got to beat yourself. I love the psychology behind that. It's very smart. Where meanwhile, Slade and Robin, they kind of are journeying to the center of the earth. And there's a lot of back and forth between the 2 of them. And, there's a mutual hatred, but there's I think always a mutual respect. Like, even though Robin thinks nothing but terrible things of Slade, they both do respect how tough the other one is. And it's kind of a weird, like, mentor apprentice kind of bond that those two have. It's very, very weird. But Slade at one point says, listen, I have to go this way to get my soul back, and you have to go this way to find Raven. They split up, and Robin does find Raven. However, she has now been reverted to a child in a shocking moment. And it is just a crazy, like, cliffhanger as this episode comes to an end, as you find Raven is now a child, is dressed as the White Raven, and she's like, who are you? As this episode kind of comes to an end, as the Teen Titans are getting their asses kicked. Robin has found Raven, but she is only a child, and Slade is going to battle for his soul as we leave the end of part 2. Again, another, I know it sounds like a broken record, but it's another masterpiece of an episode for me. Teen Titans, the end part 2 is a masterpiece. And this episode right here, I did forget to mention, there was a fun scene where Robin and Slade fight these kind of minions together. Just very cool to see those two, instead of fighting each other, they're fighting side by side as a team. Very, very cool to see for me. Just a kind of like a fan moment for that. Speaking of all that, one of the original sketches of the series was a spoof of Superman called Super Dude, where instead of kryptonite being his weakness, it was dairy products. Yes, that was Kenan Thompson. I love Kenan Thompson. That was fantastic. I loved all that. But this leads us to, of course, the season finale, the end, part 3. Yes. Brief plot synopsis. Cyborg, Starfire, and Beast Boy fight Trigon to give Robin time to locate Raven. Robin finds an unexpected ally in his quest. Even when they find Raven, she's been changed. Will she have the power to stop her father, Trigon? Yes. The end, part 3. Now, this, to me, in a lot of ways, you can make the argument that the series should have ended here. And I'll get to that, I guess, in a little bit. But of course, Robin finds Raven, and she's a child, and he says, listen, we have to go back. We have to climb back to the top. And while he's climbing with her on his back, he's telling her the story of Raven, and he gives you the whole origin story of the Raven character. And even though she was told she would do horrible things from birth, she believed that she could be better. She believed she could be more. And he's trying to burn all of this into her head. Well, meanwhile, Cyborg, Starfire, and Beast Boy are fighting their evil selves. They come up with the conclusion, wait a minute, maybe we can't beat ourselves. Maybe if we switch, we can beat each other. And they do. And Cyborg says to Beast Boy, I could kick your butt any day of the week. So he switches and beats up the evil Beast Boy. Starfire beats up the evil Cyborg, and freaking Beast Boy beats up the evil Starfire. Very fun. Very fun. Like they do the old switcheroo. They tag out, if you will, and beat their asses. Very fun, as Trigon kind of realizes, like, okay, like, you got me now. Like, what are you going to do? I'm still stronger. I'm still better. You're still worthless. You're still nothing. Robin resurfaces with Raven as a child, and they all kind of collaborate. They're like, oh my God, like, Raven, you're a kid now. Oh my goodness. And, Robin says, listen, we have to take a final stand right here. We've got to go charge Trigon. We've got to go beat Trigon, even though the prophecy says that we cannot hurt him. And it's an epic moment as the Titans kind of come together and say, we're going to beat this guy. And Slade, of all people, comes out of nowhere to fight Trigon and chops off his horn with the giant fucking scythe. And he's like, you back-crossed me. I'm coming at you now, too. And Robin, Titans, go! As the Titans kind of charge Trigon. And they wage this final war between Trigon, the destroyer of the world. And I love... They focus on some of the battle, but they also focus on Raven's reaction to this, her raw reaction of, they're hurting him. Oh my God, they are hurting him. She can't believe it. And they look like they have the upper hand, and they're whooping Trigon. Oh my God, are they going to beat him? Of course, Trigon knocks out Slade. Then he takes out the entire Teen Titans except for Raven. And Raven runs over to Robin. Robin, wake up, please wake up. And Trigon goes, you're dead, daughter, and like shoots these lasers at her, and she blocks them without even knowing how she did it. And then all of a sudden she goes from child to adult White Raven with the long flowing hair and the white robe. And she gives him this wonderful like speech on what a father is supposed to be. And I wanted to get the quote up here because it's fantastic. She says, you may have created me, but you were never my father. Trigon goes, wretched, insignificant, Fathers are kind, blast. Fathers protect you, blast. Fathers raise you, blast. I was protected by the monks of Azarath. I was raised by my friends. They are my family. This is my home, and you are not welcome here. Azarath, Metreon, Zinthos, and takes out Trigon in this blaze of glory, this white robed raven just tearing down the house and destroying her own father, overcoming all of the prophecies and, you were destined for evil, all of these things. She overcomes that in this great moment of glory as the Titans stand right behind her, having her back. But it was her battle to win. It was her arc and villain to overcome, and she does that. She finally rises above all of the negativity, all of the promises of evil and destruction, because Raven believes in hope. Raven believes in being a hero. And she has this great moment with Robin where she looks at Robin and she says, listen, when nobody else believed, you did. And they hug and embrace. And I love the two of them. They also have this moment right at the end of the episode where they look at each other and she says, Robin, can I ask you something? And he says, sure. And she goes, how do you do it? And he goes, do what? And she goes, keep hope. No matter all the things that happened, all the things I did, all the things that went wrong, you never stopped hoping that it could be better. And Robin turns the mirror right on her. He says, I didn't keep hope because of me. I kept hope because of you, because you're the most hopeful person I've ever met. From the day you were born, they told you were evil, that you were destined to do horrible things, but you dared for more. You dared to fight evil. You dared to be a hero. And that's why we all love you. And Raven looks in the mirror and she sees herself in her reflection and she says, that is me. And I think it is in that moment where Robin makes her realize that she is the most hopeful person in the world. Raven may be a downer. Raven may not be the most upbeat like a Beast Boy or a Cyborg, but that's not Raven. Raven is just as hopeful, if not more than them. But she has to believe in herself, and she does. And it's such a nice, beautiful moment where Robin looks at her and says, listen, you have your whole life ahead of you, and nothing's going to stop us now. And we're on top of the world. Cyborg's whooping up some French toast. Let's all get together, smile, and enjoy the sunset. And to me, a lot of part of me thinks that maybe it should have just ended here, like ended the series here, not just the season, but the series, because you saved the world. You beat the biggest, baddest guy. You're on top of the world. Your lives are in front of you. You're on top of the world. Some part of me wishes that the Teen Titans had just gone out on top on that moment. We went out on top. That's all there is to it. Instead, we get season 5, which I don't think is as grand as this. I don't really care for the 5th season as much as I do season 4. To me, season 4 was the better ending, and it really should have ended here, I think. But as a whole, I mean, this season, it's a true masterpiece. It really is. I love this season. Again, the end part 3 is going to be another masterpiece episode of Teen Titans. So let's get back to comments here. Maybe if we beat the shit out of each other, we can win. Exactly. Pretty much it. Claps. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. But looking back here at this ranking, I mean, look how many masterpieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 masterpiece episodes out of 13. That's more than half. 3 great episodes, 2 okay episodes, 1 bad episode. So we literally have 10 out of 13 that are great to masterpieces. We have 2 okays and 1 bad. So to me, that's a masterpiece season, arguably the best overall season. It's this or season 2 for me. But I will say this, it is my favorite arc. It is for my favorite arc because Raven's my favorite character. And I think Tara Strong as the character does a wonderful job. I loved the whole story of the darkness that will take over and all of these things, and you have to overcome it. And Robin's never giving out hope, and their bond that they have together, that hug they share, the words they share. You have your life in front of you. Like, you can't keep listening to what you were told as a child. You have to go out and be the best you, because that's all you've been doing your whole life. Don't let them tell you you're anything other than that. That's why I love Teen Titans. I think it's just a great show. There's a great familyness to it. There's a great heart to it. And I think it's one of the all-time great shows because of that. So Teen Titans season 4, arguably my favorite season. It's season 2 or season 4. But for now, on this episode live here today, I'm going to go with season 4 as my favorite. I really do think it really could have ended here with the Teen Titans on top of the world. And it's funny, like people say, I always look at Rocky 4 like that. Like Rocky 4, he beats Drago, wrapped in the American flag, and if I could change, you could change. Everybody could change. And Russia's standing for Rockies on top of the world. Like he really could have ended it there. You know, you didn't have to go with Rocky 5 and the concussions and I'm going to fight Tommy Gunn in the street to be different. And then, granted, I love Rocky Balboa. You know, a lot of people like the Creed movies. I think Rocky could have theoretically ended at 4. I'm on top of the world. I'm the champion. I'm wrapped the American flag. I avenged my friend Apollo. There's no real place to go but down. You know, and that happens with everything. It really does. A lot of places they don't just leave where they peak. They kind of take that step back down. And for me, season 5 is that. I think season 5 is the worst season of Teen Titans. We will get into that. It won't be next time on the show, but it will be down the road. I promise. We've done seasons 1 through 4, so we're going to do 5 and Trouble in Tokyo. I promise you that. Let's see, comments. Raven is such a wonderful character, and I don't get why fans of that character would hate that episode. Dude, no. I don't think anybody hates these episodes. I mean, Raven is the most beloved Teen Titan. I swear, man, you go to any Comic-Con, you'll see so many Raven and Beast Boys. Like, so many of them, man. It's crazy how many people cosplay as Raven. Like, Harley Quinn is big, but Raven is just as fucking big. When you go to see cosplayers, it's such a popular character in pop culture. It really is. I love Raven. That's what happens with a lot of TV shows. They never know how to end unless they are a limited series. Yeah, it's the thing, man. Like, sometimes they milk too much, and it can really hurt what's otherwise a masterpiece of a show. But, you know, I love this episode. I love this season. I think season 4 was a masterpiece, and it was a lot of fun to talk about here tonight in the Graveyard. We're in the exactly hour 30 mark. So if anybody else has any comments, please tell them before we wrap up here. Also, Grande, found some solutions to the game audio thing. Was going to get back to you when I get it working. Oh, very cool. Okay. For those of you that don't know, Mark and I, we started a stream for Until Dawn, which is a interactive horror game. Mark's a big gamer. He actually just did a Pokemon stream where they were collecting all the shiny Pokemon, and they won a Guinness World Records. Like, a ton of people. He's got the award and stuff. Really cool. I wish you'd do a video on your channel like talking about it. I think it would be really cool for people to see. But yeah, no, that was some awesome stuff. He did post a video recently. You know, it's like a 10-minute highlight video. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, no, I was really happy for you. But yeah, no, totally, man. Maybe next time we hang out, we could play more Until Dawn. Let's see. Raven and Harley Quinn for the win. I agree with that completely. Hell, it even rhymes. Chris is going to survive Until Dawn. I don't know who's surviving Until Dawn, man. I'll be honest. So we played the first 3 or 4 chapters, and then Mark played without me. So I can't give full blame or, you know, credit for who lives, who dies, because I missed a big chunk. So Mark is the evil mastermind behind some of this stuff. Can go for Until Dawn or Quarry, which is like a pseudo sequel. Yeah, same creators, and it's like camp environment, so that's pretty cool. I'll be in arm's length of David Arquette tomorrow at Monster Mania, so I don't know, man. Maybe, just maybe, I'll have to say hi to him. Fuck Chris, all caps. Oh, we know he's serious when he's all caps. But yeah, unless anybody else has anything else to say, like I said, thank you so much for joining, everybody. This was a very fun ranking list here. Once again, I got the ranking up here. Just one last look at it for everybody. A wonderful season. 10 out of 13 episodes I consider great. 12 out of 13 I consider okay to great or to masterpiece. So definitely a season I highly recommend people watch. Ted Raimi is awesome in The Quarry. Awesome. And like I said, if you do not own the Blu-ray of Teen Titans like I do, you can watch these on HBO Max. They have the entire season, or the entire series, I should say, plus the TV movie, and some different animated movies, which I watched and was not as big on, but I definitely still love the Glenn Murakami Teen Titans. But yeah, no, it doesn't look like anybody else has anything to say. I'm the Arsenal. It's a great stream, Grande. Thank you, brother. I appreciate your support as always. Cheers to you, and cheers to a safe, happy, healthy weekend to you, my friend, and to everybody on here. And like I said, if anybody's at Monster Mania, if you see me, feel free to say hi. And like that, I don't know. I really don't know what else to say. But yeah, no, everybody, thank you so much for watching. This was a lot of fun. Like I said, stay safe. Enjoy your weekend. Cheers, everybody. Cheers to you. Cheers to the Teen Titans. And we will catch you next time only on The Graveyard, where we will be discussing Exploitation Explosion Volume 2. You're not going to want to miss it. Some horror exploitation. I'm super excited for that. Hello, it's me, HBO Max. I see this is your favorite show, so I'm getting rid of it for tax reasons. Well, that's why I have the Blu-ray. But everybody, we will catch you next time. Too sweet. Peace. Good night, everybody.